we're bringing very expensive technology down to,
Yeah.
these other industries. These are the tools that big business use. They're analyzing, transactions. They're getting very specific with their ad spend, killing off bad performing ads,
Mm-hmm.
analyzing things, and so that these smaller companies can take advantage of these tools, but there's gonna be some learning curve.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Marketing Podcast. I'm here today with James Hurst from The Marketing Show, who is, I would say, an expert in CRMs, marketing CRMs, specifically Go High Level or the High Level CRM platform. So welcome, James. Thanks for hopping on. I really appreciate it. I've learned
Thank
so
you.
much from you. Just introduce yourselves. How'd you get here? Yeah.
Well, hey everyone. I'm assuming most of you guys are in the moving marketing space. Two guys in a truck, two men in a truck type thing. So
Yep.
good to have everyone. So like Christina said, I'm the James Hurst. I'm the host of the Marketing Show. I've been actually had a background in software engineering, so I kind of get excited when I get to automate things and never have to do that again. So I spent some time with computer programming in college, and then I also just kind of putting myself through college. I was in the service industry. I was cleaning windows, right? I had a window cleaning business here in Utah. And so I made a little website while I was going through school. And instead of knocking doors, I was hoping maybe people could just search on Google and find my website. And then I had a form on my website where they could request an estimate. Just very much like we do today. Back then, the estimate, when it got submitted, it would like go to an email or go to my phone. But now the next thing is to go to like something in the cloud, right? A CRM,
Yeah.
like a Salesforce, kind of some sort of web-based CRM. And so that's kind of how I got into it, was really just kind of practicing the tech side of things with my little window cleaning business. And it's like, well, every business kind of needs their custom things. I want to make a place to upload custom fields so I could take a picture of the house, so I could, recognize, or I want to maybe take some notes about their situation. Maybe they're moving, or maybe I would take specific notes about, what equipment I needed to bring, or maybe it's a piano move or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I started building out CRMs, and then marketing automation. And so then we all have been in these things where you're getting emails, right? They're not just
Funnels. Yeah.
funnels and emails, and it's just, I mean, the websites have gone from really just like this plain brochure looking thing. First, it was just good to have a website at all that you could point people to.
Yeah, you're way ahead of the game. At a website,
right?
Let alone an email funnel.
And so now these websites are like, they have so much intelligence that, with whether it's, someone hasn't responded to them, I'm going to automatically follow up, or tracking how people are finding you. Is it maybe they first found out about you from a Google search, but then maybe it was actually a Facebook ad that was the last thing they did before.
The first attribution.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's it's a whole art and science, and it's very fascinating. So
complicated too, though. It does get complicated. You have to kind of watch it.
There's a lot of moving pieces.
We just experienced that just now. We got the time zone wasn't on the follow-up emails.
Okay.
So, and the software changes constantly, so you have to kind of be in there a lot too. But so tell me, how did you get into high level as being,
So, I had been in this space pre-high level for quite a few years, and I just started hearing about it more and more. Of my friends were saying, "Hey, James, you got to take a look at this." I'm like, "Oh, I was kind of more on the ClickFunnels side," and I was like, "Oh, another copycat," right? Because literally, I opened up the funnels, and I was like, "You guys, that's great. I mean, it looks just like ClickFunnels, and I'm sure you guys didn't like rip the code off. He probably built it from scratch, or it's, not ClickFunnels wasn't the first people to have a drag and drop builder, so they can't really claim that." But I was just like, but I was, I hear about something once, twice, and then 5 times, it's like, maybe there's something to this. And I started seeing friends leave ClickFunnels
Mhm.
And at this time, I was also, had heard some of these promises about 2.0 coming,
Mm.
even though I had some reason to, to be looking elsewhere. They weren't keeping up.
Right.
And
Right.
so I came over, and here's the big kicker is this just the value of high level, for an entrepreneur is just, amazing. The amount of tools that you get to run and operate a CRM now. And so I got into it, and I kind of left ClickFunnels quietly at the time. I was like, I'm just going to use this for my own stuff and maybe for some friends and family.
Well, it was at the beginning, it was really hard to use. It was I started 3 years ago, and even then it was like you had to build it out as if you were I compare it to pizza, making your own
Uh-huh.
pizza. Like literally to get the sausage, you have to raise the hog, feed the
This
hog,
is
cut the hog, slaughter the hog to make your pepperoni, right? And then, but that's how I looked at high level at the time was just you had to know every piece of the puzzle to
yeah.
make it work. And over
Yeah.
time it's gotten
It
better,
it
but
really does need someone, that can understand how it all fits together, and it's not the most intuitive, it's getting better,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
and the thing is too, with mice, like I said, I mentioned I had the software background.
Mhm.
When I was literally working in software, we had every 2 weeks, there was, sprints, and these are the things we fixed, these are the new things, and it was very well documented, and so when I came over here, I could see that they were doing that, like, it was just a
Mhm.
software company, and I could tell that things were gonna be fixed, that new things were gonna be made, and they have never in the last 3 years, however long, they have just continued to iterate and push and push and push,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it's been phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. I think because it is all encompassing and so they all tie together like a big old
Yeah.
puzzle. One piece will fit to this piece, will fit to a tracker, which fits to an email, which fits to the triggers, and then you build that all into the automation. Let me ask you, again, talking with moving company owners and the people that are trying to grow their business, my heart the hard thing for me is getting them to understand the difference between an operational CRM
Yeah.
and a marketing CRM. So
Yeah.
what how would you describe those two and how high level kind of fits it? And before you start, I just want to let everyone know we use the Moving Up app. That is our version of high level. We've taken high level and we white labeled it and we put our name on it, but we've also built it out. So anytime we have a new moving company, we have it all set up. So it's really easy for us to spin up a sub account, get everything ready. But just so everybody
Yeah,
knows
so
why I'm talking about high level.
yeah. So high level is kind of like a blank slate. And so you would come in with all of your expertise, with all your moving clients, and you know what moving clients need. And you've now built things out on top of it that I haven't built out for maybe real estate, right? Or
Right.
window cleaning. And so, I mean, it's like looking at a blank Excel spreadsheet. There's all these white blank cells here, but it's very, very powerful. But it's also just like it's a blank sheet, it's a blank piece of paper. As far as the difference between a market, so I'm thinking operations wise is like, okay, how many trucks do I have going out? The technician's on its way, that kind of thing. Um, the marketing would be all the things before all that happens. So you're going to have, maybe running ads to a landing page, the analytics, how much traffic are you getting? Are you showing up for what kind of keywords are you showing up for? Maybe a moving company near me, moving company Salt Lake City, moving company Denver, those kinds of things. And then really on the lead generation side, right? With following up and qualifications. Maybe you don't want to do um, I don't know. Is there too small of a movie? Maybe you want
Yeah,
to
some
target.
people are yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And we do have qualifiers definitely, and
Yes.
and we kind of have to be careful. You don't want every single lead, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
What you mean?
So think of it more things that happen before the sale, the nurturing,
Mhm.
um, and and then the operations kind of would come in afterwards.
Right. I think also too, just the tracking mechanisms on it. It's funny because I can now tell if somebody called from a paid ad, from organic
Yeah.
search, a Google map, if you're doing Bing ads.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. Being able to calculate your ROI. on your marketing spend,
Right.
and you can't hide it. You just can't hide the fact, well, you got 20 leads this week, you know, people, because they say they want 100 leads. They're not getting it, but then you can actually see you did get 100 leads. Just answer your phone X number of times, or is it going into junk mail? And so it's just
Yeah.
being able to monitor all that and track it. It's just been very, very helpful. So,
I remember thinking, oh wow, I missed a call, but that was a lead,
hmm
right?
hmm
And all I had in that contact record was the phone number. And
yeah.
so eventually I want to try to, get their name and fill it out and keep it going. But just something as simple as, hey, a missed call is the start of a lead,
hmm hmm
right?
Yeah, I think also it helps internally. Do you understand what is happening, what is breaking as well?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes these notifications, they get hidden, they're in the junk mail. So with high level, what I like about it is I can send out a text message like, you got a lead.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody called, somebody filled out a form, go find it, go get it. But I'd prefer if they just use the app to tell you the truth and have it on their phone. But so
Right.
what kind of automation features do you think help moving companies convert leads? What are some things I mean, I know what I've built out. I'm just
Yeah.
curious what your ideas might be.
So what automations can help them?
Yeah, I mean, just what you've seen, even from small business owners, I think probably.
So you'll always hear about speed to lead, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is going to be basically just the classic yellow page days
Mm-hmm.
of I'm just going to start with the A's and start calling down until someone picks up their phone, and then are they going to get back to me, or can they get out and give an estimate? Depends on like that. But so definitely either having automated tech. One of the main things is like a missed call text back,
Mm-hmm.
and even that has almost been replaced now with AI, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
With
that's right.
so it used to be, wow, this is so cool. I'm busy. I'm driving. I shouldn't take this call.
Mm-hmm.
Some owner operators. I used to be the guy
Mm-hmm.
on the ladder, and
Mm-hmm.
and there's another side thing, which is like in your busy season, you you're like working really, really hard. You're slammed, and you just don't have the mental bandwidth
Mm-hmm.
sometimes
Mm-hmm.
to. I would lose jobs. I would lose jobs all the time just because I was
Sure.
like, I am so busy, and I would raise my prices. Like, I'm so busy right now, I can bid these jobs higher, because I'm the demand is so high.
Mm-hmm.
But some of that loss is just because we're just overwhelmed, and like and I don't need the work, you know.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it used to be like, yeah, I would send out a text, sorry, missed your
Mm-hmm.
call, how can we help?
Mm-hmm.
And that would hopefully stop them in their tracks from looking for someone else, because now they've engaged.
Mm-hmm.
With AI can go so far as to collect all their information
Mm-hmm.
and see when do they
Yeah,
want
that's
to
right.
move,
Yeah. Yeah.
what kind of moving dates are they looking at, what kind of,
Yeah.
is this a commercial move, is this a residential,
Mm-hmm.
uh
I'm
and
trying to get
so
that across to some of our clients as well, as to use this voice AI. They're a little hesitant on it. I have it
yeah,
set up for the moving marketing side.
yeah,
And people still ask, even now, even though I put in there, we are I don't say an AI, I just say a virtual assistant.
yeah,
Of course, that could probably be more clear on that too. But I think people are just still a little shy on it. They're afraid that, in fact, one person said that it sounded like it got annoyed with me because I
okay,
asked too many questions. And I'm like, I don't think that's a thing.
yeah. So you're talking about voice, which is really cool. And there's
Mhm,
also the SMS, like
mhm,
the chat
mhm,
side of things.
mhm,
Also, let's just talk about all the different channels that our businesses kind of communicate on, whether it's
right.
email, voice, maybe a Google Business chat, maybe
Mhm,
Instagram DMs, or maybe a Google page
mhm,
chat. And so for you to be able to bring all of those channels into one single pane of glass and have your
uh-huh,
team responding on that, that's a huge win too.
mhm,
Right. And then have that activity, whether I did SMS them or email them, to have all of that in one place, that history there,
mhm,
whether it's a mix of manual text or automated text or an
mhm,
email newsletter, the ability to keep in touch with those multiple touch points is so much easier.
right. Yeah, I agree. What talking about those touch points,
Yeah.
there's so many touch points. What is it that we need to be measuring to get like a really understanding of if we're converting well?
Okay, so what are we measuring, right? So I guess you could say speed to lead. How quickly
Mm-hmm.
are we getting back to them?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have that automated, then it's pretty much instantaneous.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is we all experience this as consumers and as business owners, is that you have something seems hot, right? There's some excitement there. You're talking to them, and then what happens is you maybe present the price. There's a little bit of misgiving. There's this thinking about it kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I think our threshold for following up, we just we kind of give up too soon.
Mm-hmm.
From all the studies I've read and the conferences I've been to, is we just give up too soon. I just had an electrician come out, and
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted one little outlet fixed, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like, we're going to do a whole home, what do you call it, inspection. And he inspected the panel and this and that, and I told him a few things I wanted estimates on,
Mm-hmm.
and he spent a good hour, maybe more. And then, we talked about the price. He sent a quote,
Mm-hmm.
and then he followed up again, and then it just completely dropped off.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, you guys went to a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Hour in my home.
I get the same experience too. I'm like,
Yeah.
why aren't you following up with me or sending text
Yeah.
message? And
And you know what I just came up with was, now I'm the kind that doesn't want to bother them. Hey, hey,
mm-hmm.
hello, like,
Yeah.
are you there? Like, and one of the interesting things I just saw was, I kind of, here's the price, and then later down the road, you maybe hit them with a coupon,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of
Mm-hmm.
then changes would that be enough to push them over the edge?
Right. Right.
And so that's kind of cool. The other cool thing that I don't think people are taking advantage of is this idea of a manual action.
Mm-hmm.
So have you used those where you basically say, hey, I need to create a list. The automations say at this point in the automation, we're going to stop and
Oh,
queue you up for a manual phone call.
right. Right. Oh, I have not done that yet.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
a
So
lot
that's
of what
kind
we're doing is just those follow-ups, because with moving companies, you have to be, you talk about speed to lead. It's you've really got 5 minutes
of,
because they're calling 5 other moving companies. So if they call and get a voicemail, it's not great because you're just not going to get them to pick up the phone when you call them back. And so I really need them to call. Now, again, with the text, hey, you just missed a call back. But if we can get some kind of information, we do follow up with a text message. But again, it's notifying the client, you've got to call these people back right now. If we can get an email and they fill out the form, that's another area where if we don't immediately follow up with them immediately, whether that's an email and a text, then they're gone. The likelihood of you getting that client or customer is just going to be nil. I mean, it drops every single minute. It just drops. So every form needs to be a notification. You got to immediately call them back. The problem runs into is that on the weekends or at night. And that's how I feel that voice AI is super helpful. It's just trying to configure how to use when you can turn on the voice, that phone number needs to switch, or whatever phone number they're using, like Vonage or something, has the ability to forward to the AI during the times. But yeah, it's that follow-up sequence, like you were just talking about, where they fill out a form, they get an immediate reply, which I find is crazy when I test other moving companies. I get nothing. I don't even know if you got my form.
You're right.
And so that's what we're trying to, and then you just kind of build on from that. We have a checklist that we send people, and just to build that value. But that whole email funnel, that conversation immediately starts the minute they either call or they fill out the form.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to get people on that phone call really, really fast. And I'm always surprised that no one's called me.
Yeah. Depending on the industry too, is how far out have you built out a nurture sequence, right? So this electrician, I was like, I wonder how good they are. Are they gonna, every season, hey, you need to, I don't know, check your furnace filters, or
That's right.
come up with something to say.
Christmas time. Have you checked out your outdoor electrical outlets to make sure your Christmas lights?
Yeah, tips and tricks, right? And I mean,
It's
that
not
made me
top of mind. It's
top of mind.
constantly being top of mind.
Yeah,
You know?
so putting in that work up front to just have something to kind of go out. I was impressed though when I saw that coupon come in. I didn't know
Mhm.
if it was just part of their regular newsletter or if it was a tactic to try to help seal the deal. But I
Yeah.
don't know. So I was just talking to someone, and we literally were visiting in person at a home show for
Mhm.
probably 20 or 30 minutes. He
Mhm.
seemed excited,
Mhm.
seemed to need what I wanted to offer, and I texted him a couple different times. We were going to meet in person. I'm trying to leverage the in person because
Sure.
everything's so online nowadays. And I'm thinking, maybe maybe the handshake, and the ability to meet in person can just provide a lift in sales and things.
Mhm.
And he's not responding.
Mhm.
I just do not understand.
I'm telling you.
And so I left a voicemail, and so now I'm on my third time. I've
Mhm.
texted twice. I've left a voicemail once,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, I don't want to be annoying,
Right.
but
Exactly. No,
but
exactly. It's just about, I mean, from a mover's perspective, it's just all about providing as much value. But in addition, they've got a trust issue they have to get past.
yeah.
And so just if we're not, we can't just be constantly sending you, hey, how's that estimate? How's that? You got to give them helpful information in order
I,
to come across as the expert in the field. Because, these guys, they can be fly by night. Anybody can get a truck,
uh,
have their brother or their cousin or their best friend. And next thing you know, they're a moving company.
sure.
And so you kind of have to portray the fact that I am who I say I am. But yeah,
License and
this,
bonded type
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
authority figure.
You didn't just find us on Craigslist. That's it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're just trying to build this thing out for moving companies, especially with high level to not only from the lead generation part, but we're trying to build it out also for building out reviews.
Sure.
Smart Moving is a wonderful tool. I mean, I highly recommend it for any moving company out there. It's all encompassing. From my understanding, though, to get a review, I think they send one email
Hmm.
and part of the invoice. I'm trying to it's hard to get reviews. So I'm trying to bombard people like review, review, review. So we like the QR code, which I found out high level, we use the QR code generator.
Yep.
And that's been amazing because now I can track that within high level. And then we have put those on postcards or business cards, and we just constantly handing these things out because the automation kind of built in so we can monitor, have they done the review yet?
Gotcha.
Which I have to find out is that's even possible. I guess by the name,
What's that
if I
now?
did automation on that.
Yeah, I think that collecting the reviews again, just seems like you have to be a little bit more persistent than you think, right?
Yeah.
A little bit more, a little bit more persistent than you think. And so I was just building an automation for reviews, and it texts them, and it kind of, we put the Google place in a trigger link so we can at least know whether or not they've clicked on that link. So
Mm-hmm,
we can, and then if they haven't, then we can kind of nudge them, a
mm-hmm,
gentle reminder. And if they haven't done anything at all after 30 hours, then it will try again.
mm-hmm.
And then as a last ditch effort, if it still hasn't gotten anything, we'll send them an email. So
Okay. Yeah.
try 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
The 30 hours is kind of interesting. Waiting 30 hours is because let's say I got you at 6 in the morning, right? Maybe that was a bad time for you. So 30 hours off is
Mm-hmm.
a 6 hour offset basically.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm catching you at noon. If
Mm-hmm.
noon was a bad time, 30 hours will catch you at 6
Mm-hmm.
p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's a Friday to a Saturday. So the idea of a 6 hour offset there is to just try you at a different time of day in your,
Right.
catch you at a
Right.
different point in your day.
Can we track if they've left the review? Is there anything we can do about that? That's where I'm like, okay, they
If
left the review. We won't send any more
we
emails.
won't send anymore, that's going to be because imagine a bad review, you wouldn't want
Yeah.
someone to come back on you. So Google kind of keeps that pretty
Yeah.
anonymous.
Yeah.
So
I guess not.
if you're like, you know, if you could do some really, it'd be pretty complex, but imagine like your name is, Christina 12345. And so I
Yeah.
know I sent
Yeah.
a review request to
Right.
Christina, and
Right.
I could kind of say, hey, I did something with Christina's name, come in within the last 2 or 3 days and then kind of just make that assumption. But if if your little name is, Phoenix 47 or something that has nothing to do with your name, then there's just not an easy way to do it. Besides the manual process.
Yeah.
The manual process.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Here's one. What about this? This idea of the automatically replying to those reviews, and then if you also taking that review and automatically posting it back to your socials, maybe something that says, hey, if we got a 4 or 5 star, maybe you just want to say, baby, if for any 5-star reviews, go ahead and take this. The
Is
words
that possible in HighLevel? Can I take reviews and post them for social? Did I miss that?
I think you sure can, and maybe doesn't it just make sense though?
Oh no, we used to have a tool called Missing Letter.
Okay.
And it tracked reviews as well as send what we call the evergreen post. So, you don't want to send out a social post or a blog post just one time. You really should schedule the same blog post multiple
Right.
times.
Okay.
But what it would do is that if it noticed a review, it would generate kind of an image of the review and it didn't automatically, you kind of want to look at it, but it would take that same review, same concept multiple times. Now, if I get HighLevel to do that,
I think we can. We'll have to play with it.
I got to get you under the con.
No, so I'm at the point. I'm like, I'm sure that someone's made a YouTube video on it. I know it's possible. And if it's not all native within the moving marketers, then maybe with some third party tool. But and it's like there's kind of this flow, right? You have all the stuff before the sale, all the stuff after the sale. And in fact, the idea that you could turn someone that had a good experience into a referral campaign. Hey, how would you like to get 20% of the move? That kind of thing. Asking for referrals.
So if they click the link, then they've at least visited the review page.
Yep.
But what we don't know is if that person is actually good or bad.
Yeah.
We don't know who.
Yeah.
But you still could send out a referral. But that's the other thing I'm trying to do is we got the lead, we got the reviews, but I'm trying to get a whole follow-up system afterward, especially for apartments. I mean, those leases are every year typically.
Okay.
And I feel like there should be a 365-day anniversary email that goes out to people. Hey, looks like, who knows if you're moving again or you're something,
Yeah.
A check-in.
I lived in some apartments for a while, and we were helping people move in every weekend. It was wild. Weird. So there's just it, and then are you guys doing the invoicing and processing payments through the system as well?
No, that's all done through the operational side of it. Yeah, it's too complicated. There's some AI that's out there to help us create estimates for moving companies. I've been speaking to a couple of them. But right now it's the CRM within the operation side because it's like cubic feet per truck for rooms and it's super, it's very
customized for the industry.
Yeah. What's your truck size? How far? How many guys?
Sure. Miles.
I think they do, depending, they either do it by miles or they do it by cubic feet within the truck and how much you're loading, weight sometimes, but that's not something I'm not building out an original CRM. No. Now, what I will do is help them out, like for appointment setting. I'm trying to get our newest client in there so that they can schedule either virtual estimates so that they can be ready. I did this for another moving company about 2-3 years ago, and they love it. Or an in-person estimate, right? So if you've got a 5-bedroom home, that's something you kind of want to physically go see it. But if I can get HighLevel set up for that and with the reminders, hey, the dude's on his way, blah, 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 so, but it's just trying to get these guys outside of the phone call, send an estimate, show up, and just think more high level about marketing and retention.
Yeah. What are you doing on the lead gen side? Are you doing SEO and
SEO, paid ads? Yeah. And we typically use our HighLevel form, so I know exactly where they came from and the attribution side of it. But
so you're using UTM parameters. Is that an important piece of your?
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, for sure for paid ads. Absolutely. We'll do UTMs inside the maps, the Google Map listings. Yeah. Do as much of that as possible. Track, track it. So,
Do you have a process for how often are you going to go into an account and see which UTMs, which keywords, which creative is driving the result?
when we first start, we're kind of in there weekly, especially the analytics. But usually, to be honest, when we start with a client, it takes 3 to 6 months to really start seeing traction on it.
Wow.
I mean, I've got one client, it's a week, their SEO, God bless, it's been a year. So I think it's more of an authority issue on that side of it. But
And you feel like getting those reviews, it only helps, right?
you
more and more
have
reviews.
to. Yeah, you have no choice. That's your primary goal, is to get those 5 stars.
Yeah.
You know,
Someone used the term table stakes, like a poker term. Like this is like the minimum. Like if you just want to play the game, this is what you've got to do.
right.
Table stakes.
Table
Stakes.
Stakes. Oh yeah.
Like high stakes.
High stakes.
Yeah, high stakes poker.
Gotcha.
I don't play poker, but
I don't play poker.
These are table stakes, which is basically, if you want to play the game, this is what you've got to do.
Absolutely. So what do you think are some best practices when you're trying to start out with HighLevel or any kind of marketing CRM?
Well, we haven't talked about your pipelines yet. Pipeline management.
True.
Right? So basically when someone does come in, they come into a certain stage, like a Trello board, if anyone's used a Trello board, or any kind of other pipeline management software. So at a minimum, you might have someone that's new, someone that I've actually gotten a hold of, someone that's gotten a quote, someone that has an appointment. You could transition from a sales to a fulfillment. Right now we need to show up, we have an appointment, that kind of thing. And so tracking all that. One cool thing, have you ever used the stale opportunity trigger? What it is, if someone sits in a certain stage for too long, you can then alert and notify people.
Got it. Okay,
it's like,
that's a new one.
This person here, this person has been in the lead status and hasn't moved in 3 or 4 days. Like, what's going on, right? Hopefully that doesn't happen, but unfortunately, that's just the nature of it. Is that
it's a training issue, is trying to get these guys to go into the app. That's the hardest thing. I have a VA that helps, so we can kind of tell based on a phone call if it was a good or bad lead. So we've got one pipeline that's quality or not quality, and we're trying to make it easy for the VA to make that decision. Sometimes it's a little like we don't know, but yeah, it's hard for them to go in. I'm like, listen, all I need you to do is, it's a good lead, it's a bad lead. Next level, you can tell me, did you book them? That would be great to know, and how much. Unfortunately, smart moving, some of these operational CRMs, their APIs are limited. And so I can get stuff in, we can't get stuff out. So if they book a lead over on smart moving side, they just adjusted their API. So we're going to look into it more, but I can't tell. I can't send that back to HighLevel to say, yeah, these guys booked. So I can kick off a review. I can kick off a 365-day anniversary. I can kick up, we haven't figured that out. I jerry-rigged it. Yeah,
that would be pretty important. Would they have like a Zapier?
They don't have an out.
Yeah.
Now, what they do, and this is why I'm trying to jerry-rig it, they will connect outwardly to MailChimp. That's the only tool that they will connect with, from what I've seen the past few months. From there, we'll send MailChimp back into HighLevel, because we can tag it. We can tag it, and then tags, and then when it gets in the HighLevel, then it just doesn't work very well. It gets disconnected.
What are they telling MailChimp? What kind of things are they telling them, that they got an appointment?
That's the other thing, very limited. It's also based on tagged. So, and even their wording is not exactly what I would think would be a booked call, a lost lead. So we kind of had to look at, there's just not even the reports, it's kind of hard to really tell. But
I had a gutter contractor. I was so excited to do all the things that we do, right? Because it's like, man, I could notify you and remind you, and hey, a new lead came in, a missed call, and what he did not want to log in.
They don't want to log in. I have to say, my
And
younger guys, they'll do it.
yeah, okay.
It's the ones that are 40 and over,
Mhm,
they don't want to be bothered.
mhm.
But my feeling is that that's why you need a salesperson. Your salesperson really should be the one in there moving people along the pipeline. It's just they've got a lot to do. They're really busy.
Yeah,
It's not on their head. Like I said, they pick up the phone, they send an estimate, hang up, move on to the next call. And to
yeah.
go in and do that, especially when you have two of them, when you got smart moving and somebody, and then
Uh,
a high
yeah.
level,
Just there's a
that's,
learning curve, and there is
yep.
the mobile app. There's the mobile app,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wish they just use the mobile app. That would be
mobile app. I actually did a few things where after a phone call came in, I just sent an email. So I made some trigger links with the
mm-hmm,
buttons,
mm-hmm,
and I said, "Hey, did that lead close? Just kind of just click this button in an email. You don't have to log in."
right.
And I don't know, just the adoption. There's a disconnect there. There was a
Yeah.
disconnect between the what the
Well,
capabilities are.
they
Yeah,
hire us to do this work.
yeah,
And it's just in their mind, it's our app.
yeah.
That's your job. I don't want to, I don't want to do that job. And which
It's
I,
probably
I can respect, I
yeah,
get that. But I don't know unless I can literally go in and see in your operational CRM, then I can do that. But that's very time consuming on my end.
oh,
In addition, I think it's just part of owning a business. But in my opinion, if you really want to hire somebody to do your marketing for you, you really need to be involved in some capacity. Just and visually see what's happening at least, but be a part of it. Um, it just gets really difficult. They can't get them into the app itself. It just can be really, really powerful for them as
yeah.
business owners. They're really just like you were saying, they're not interested in it.
Yeah, there's an overwhelm, there's a
hmm
too busy, or
hmm
um, and then sometimes maybe this being tech enabled,
hmm
maybe that means now we're growing. Does that mean I got to get a stair step? Do I got to get another truck? Do I need to hire? Maybe there's a comfort level where they're at.
hmm
Um, and so especially if you're just a single owner operator,
hmm
kind of like I was on the ladder myself, and saying, you know what, I'm busy enough right now.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to get back to this call.
Yeah. Yeah. What about people like we just had brought in a client that literally been using spreadsheets, if that,
Yeah.
like he had a piece of paper, he'd write names and numbers down. I'm curious if you've ever run into that where you, I mean, based on our last conversation, maybe not, but just trying to convince people like this is a better method.
Yeah.
What do you do with
I
folks
I
like
get
that?
it. I like this guy I was talking to at the home show. He didn't
hmm
really have a CRM. I was like, oh my gosh,
hmm
I'm gonna blow your mind. And uh and so like I said, I get excited for that. I think it doesn't take very much to see the advantages over a spreadsheet.
Right.
Um the business world is things are getting moving so fast. The business,
Yeah.
big businesses we're bringing very expensive technology down to
Yeah.
these other industries. These are the tools that big business use. They're analyzing transactions. They're getting very specific with their ad spend, killing off bad performing ads,
Mm-hmm.
analyzing things, and so that these smaller companies can take advantage of these tools, but there's gonna be some learning curve there.
Right. I agree. I think it's just something you have to set aside some time and just learn the tool, just as you would with your operational one.
Yeah,
As much
and
as you.
that's a good point. Is um, we put together a proposal to implement some of this stuff for a client,
hmm
and he has a team,
hmm
and he's like, you know, did this proposal include a certain amount of training our team? I mean, you can't just hand this stuff off.
No,
It's almost it's
I
it's
created a course for people just to help
yeah,
just walk them
yeah,
through. I'd
yeah,
love to go back and see however many actually watched it.
right.
I think I put it on YouTube though. Just I didn't want to
So
gatekeep it, but
yeah, so um the other thing I've noticed is the people that do use it, they stay in their little comfortable zone. Like I know how to send a text,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? I know
Mm-hmm.
how to click everyone. And like it's yeah, it's very interesting to see, yeah, people that are not that tech savvy.
And that's fine.
Right.
I try and hide most everything from people. I
Yeah.
don't really want them to have a whole
Yeah.
bunch of
Overwhelm.
menus.
Yeah.
I just need them to look at opportunities and contacts. That's really it. We'll take care of everything
Conversations.
else. If
Yeah.
you want it now, if a client leaves us, I'm more than happy to, hey, so you can still use the CRM. All the automations aren't going to go away. But at minimum, what we do is we export every contact and we send that to them, but we'll shut it down if they
Yeah.
decide not to use it. I just don't understand that because they're not even switching to another system. And, my feeling with this is if you really want to grow, exponentially, you have to have a marketing and a CRM like Go High Level. You have to. It's impossible. Like you're saying, the technology is moving way too fast.
Yeah.
And if you're still writing names down on a notepad, I don't know. I just don't think that's going to be a long-term effectiveness on that. So
Yeah. Yeah. But there is a gap there between between
what are some mistakes that you've seen people have done?
oh
The bigger mistakes when they try and implement like a
I
CRM.
know a mistake I made was every single little status, oh, we didn't do this. I've contacted them, or I contacted them once. I've contacted them twice. I've contacted them 3 times. Like to have like, you don't want 20
Mhm.
stages in the pipeline. Probably it's
Mhm.
simplicity, even with my review automation, I'm just realizing, I think it was maybe Elon Musk said, you know, the biggest trap an engineer can get is like working efficiently on the wrong problem. Or
Mhm.
another trap that engineers get into is over engineering something.
Mhm.
And so I had an automation where I was like, well, what if they didn't do this, then we should do that. But if they didn't respond the second time, like this is the trigger link one with the reviews. And I was
Mhm.
like, well, what if it's now the second time I reminded them and then they click the trigger? Then I had to keep on cloning that branch of the, and I'm like, where do I stop this thing? And
Mhm.
to where it's like, you look at it, you're like, wow, it's really impressive. But I'm also like really scared of that.
Mhm.
If something went wrong, how would I troubleshoot it? And so I had another friend, he had a really super simple one, like
Yeah.
just send the text and, and I was like, that could definitely be a little bit smarter. So I've
Mhm.
kind of, one of the mistakes I made was over engineering. And
Yeah.
so a mix of
Yeah, they can get
simplicity.
really big, these
Yeah.
automations. Yeah. I like to break it apart. Like if something happens,
Yeah.
it'll just kick off another automation. Otherwise, I get lost in this
Yeah.
massive automation.
So I
Wow.
I pulled it back and said, you know what? I want to try a couple times.
Mhm.
I don't want to just be stupid. I want to
Mhm.
have some smarts built in. I'm not going to be overly annoying. I'm going to try by text a couple times, try by email,
Mhm.
call it good. When most people are not trying at all,
Mhm.
when they're not even thinking to get reviews, at least this is, trying 3 times.
Right.
So,
What do you think like the future? I mean, I feel like we're in
goodness.
future right now with AI,
Yeah. Yeah.
but what do you see and what do you think that high level is going to be
So,
moving into?
you know, personalization, right?
Mhm.
So a website could, right now we give everyone the exact same experience on a website,
Mhm.
right? It, and so you could present different websites depending
Mhm.
on who it is, what you know
Oh,
about
wow.
them.
Yeah, that's true.
The okay, if you have all this information about somebody, that maybe the emails and texts are based on, right, on all that stuff that you know about them. So I
Mhm.
know, so basically it's just a matter of, well, the more I know about you, that I have your website, I have your industry, your job title, I
Mhm.
can now personalize that to you. So everyone's getting a much more customized experience. So don't ask me today technically how that gets pulled off. but you're
I can
stuck.
see within HighLevel itself, because right now you can have a WordPress site, you can have these sites in there. I can see if you're using it within HighLevel and you've got a site, I can see being able to adjust that. I mean, you can do that in the funnels. I can put their name, fill out a form, their name shows up and
Sure.
adjust based
Yeah.
on that. I can see that working. I can't
Yeah.
see it on our main site. Like,
Yeah.
we keep them separate. We just put the form on there and tracking numbers. But if it's integrated in HighLevel, yeah, I can see
Yeah. So
customizing it. I mean, you
where
can
does
have
all this
different
go?
values. Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another area. You could go crazy with the values. And so if this type of person has then this set of values, if this type of person, then this set of values. So the website would adjust
Yeah.
content wise, if somebody in, especially location, I would think location page would be perfect for that. So if I'm in XYZ county
Yeah.
and I want to see that county's name and those photos and for that location so I can get
Right.
super hyper focused on that. What I'm hoping to see is they tie it into direct mail.
Okay.
That's what I hope to see in the future because I've got a company, Modern Postcards, which is a great tool that if somebody comes to the site and they do certain things on the site and we
Yeah.
can track back an address, they'll get an immediate postcard mail to them.
Yeah.
So if I can do
Wow.
that in HighLevel, I don't know, a zap within Canva, maybe. I don't, but
Oh,
that would be nice.
there was actually a post in the Josh's group
Hmm.
today. Wesley was posting about that.
Hmm.
Did you see it? You saw
I
it?
didn't know.
Oh, you have to take a look. But I don't know. I mean, someone's gonna have to actually print the postcard, right, and mail it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Canva. I mean, you can have a template set up, and if it's connected and you've got a field in there, custom value, or custom field, and put that name in there. Hi, Joe. Looks like you came to our site. We're going to really creep you out and send you this postcard
Yeah.
or letter or something. That's what I hope to see. I mean, I'm glad what they're doing there. I think they're fixing the UX as well, from what I can tell. The contact section.
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know they're always overhauling it. Are you doing any do you have just a remarketing campaign set up for Facebook? Like,
With paid ads,
yeah.
not Facebook. We're not really doing a lot of I have to. That's another tier of marketing. It would kind of be an add-on.
Yeah.
Uh, it's so
I
complicated. I have
just
to bring somebody in for that.
I just have this gut feeling that, you know, if someone comes to my site, either organically, Google
Mhm.
Business, an
Mm.
ad,
Get that
that,
pixel.
that I should pixel
Mhm.
and you should start seeing me there for a while.
That's true. That would work. It's just you have to get a certain number of people to your site, and most of these guys don't have
That
uh,
kind of volume.
the volume for it. But
I
sure,
think.
I mean, we have retargeting pixels, but
Yeah.
again, most of them don't even have a Meta Ads account set up. The time for me to do it is insane. Yeah, we'd have to bring a third party in to help us manage Facebook ads. But I think it could work, like you said, because the problem with Facebook ads is that you have to know exactly who to target and when. I can see if you're doing for moving companies like real estate agents, maybe interior designers, people that do staging, maybe apartment complexes. That I can do regular Facebook ad marketing, but for people moving
For
physically,
retargeting.
you got to catch them at that right time. So you're right. If we had that pixel and they came to the site, yeah, we could probably retarget them on Facebook. Right now, we're doing paid ad retargeting, Google paid ad.
Yeah.
Which kind of brings me, we'll wrap up here. But the thing about the CRM too is that people have this concept of a lead coming through and signing, and then that's it. And they go off in the ether and we never reach out to them ever again. I think with the HighLevel CRMs, it's about constantly engaging and re-engaging and reminding them. And so some people say all of our ads or all of our leads come from the postcard, the mailers that go out. How do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know that they didn't come to the site, then get the postcard? How do you know they didn't see your ad, then the site, then got your postcard? Or they got the postcard and they went to the website. Now we're retargeting them. So people want to have that
First and
one-on-one relationship with a particular marketing source. And
right.
it's just trying to teach them. Yeah.
It's,
But anyway, yeah. What are your thoughts at this point, when it comes to CRMs, marketing CRMs, and how what you kind of see as a role for companies. We'll kind of end it at that point.
Yeah. So I think it's like we talked about table stakes, right? The bare minimum thing you got to have to play. I think it's going to be, it's so accessible. It's so accessible, reasonably priced. You just got to do it.
Yeah.
I'll leave on that.
Okay. So thanks, James. I appreciate it. Hopping on. Been so helpful to me, that's for sure. I'll have to have you on to help me with the chat, the AI chat capabilities.
Can I tell people just if they want to follow me?
Please, I'm so sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested in these kinds of things, like, so now we're going to go figure out how to auto post, a 5-star review to a social profile or something, and then maybe make a tutorial about it. So it's just the marketing show. If you just go out to YouTube, and then also the marketingshow.com is my website. So
yeah, and these will all be on the show notes, and I'll certainly share it. And I create a blog post out of it, so we'll put all those links in there, so you'll be able to find it later. But
I'm
yeah,
on Facebook too. I'm on Facebook quite a bit. I like to hang out in the Facebook groups and
absolutely
and see my friends and answer questions.
And you're very prolific too. You're always there to help and answer questions and stuff. So yeah, very, very helpful. That's where I get
my content ideas. Is what questions are people asking, and that's what helps me.
Well, you're good about hopping on too, real quick. You hop on and you learn as well. I know I did. We had that good conversation a few weeks ago, getting it all set up. But
the AI voice. Yeah. Thank you.
So, awesome. Well, thanks, James. Appreciate you very much. And I'll talk to you later.
All right, guys.
Bye.